Hey everybody, long time no talk. Elena here, back with another video. And first things first, before I get into the meat and potatoes of today's video, which is my May Paper Co. unboxing for the inserts that I've purchased for 2026 and some additional items that I was really excited and had my eye on, I wanted to just give you guys a little bit of an update because I've had a lot of people just reach out, inquire, see what's up, see what's going on, and there has been a lot of change this year. So my last video was the end of July where I essentially said I'm dumping my journal. I can't keep up. I feel like I'm trying to force something that's not working. I don't really feel like I'm journaling with intention, and I don't want to just journal to journal. So my main journals that I've been using are actually my 5-year journal primarily is I consider my like main journal regardless. And then I have this little pocket notebook that I used for a bulk of July, the first 2 weeks of July, I think roughly. And then what I ended up doing, or was it the last 2 weeks of July? I can't remember. And what I have is just one of my fountain pens inked up with some Demon Oxblood, and I have it just in my bag. So when I have a random thought, feeling, something that is more sort of long form journaling, it kind of just goes in this notebook. And then when this one is done, I do have another pocket notebook on deck because I actually have really liked having just a basic pocket notebook in my purse because it can fit in my big purse, but it also goes in my little purse, which I love. And I have been back into rings recently. Now, if you have been following me on Instagram, you know I started doing mostly just bullet journal style in an A5 slim notebook from Sterling Ink. And I got about halfway through this book over the course of about a month. This is a 520-page notebook, and this did me so good. I love just being in this. And because this paper in this notebook is so great, it actually just lives right here next to me on my desk. And this is sort of my scratch notes. Now I just whip it out when I need to like brainstorm on something that doesn't necessarily need to go in my planner. And so I love just having this paper on deck. This notebook overall is amazing. I have it hooked with a Midori clip band just in a clear cover from Sterling Ink. So A5 Slim was also something that I wanted to experiment with. So I'm really glad I hopped into this. So yay for this book. But I finally settled on how to kind of help myself stay organized a little bit more compared to what I was using before. So I'm still using Notion, still using my second brain, still using a lot of digital tools because there's just so many things happening that there's no way for me to keep it all on paper, but I still need paper. So the TLDR is the entire year of 2025 has been a lot from like day one. Like this year has not slowed down. We have not gotten a break. I feel like it's been one thing after another. And some of those things have been really amazing opportunities. Obviously, you guys know that recently I came on as head of education and a senior wellness specialist for Jevity, which is an online longevity focused coaching and wellness company that includes health coaching as well as telemedicine support in various states. And I am so excited to be a part of that. And it actually meant that I had to figure out what I'm doing with my private coaching business, how I'm going to scale that back, still support the clients that have currently active contracts with me. And so there's been a lot of transition, a lot of things happening behind the scenes, a lot of shift too in my personal life. And I've just really had to take a little bit of time to get my head on straight, trying to be present and share how I'm staying organized when I don't even really know how I'm staying organized has been tough this year. So I apologize if it's felt like I've been a little bit inconsistent. It's because because I didn't even know enough about where I was at with anything to share with you guys what I was doing. So I'm hoping that moving forward, I'll be able to share more of my journaling, more of my Notion, but we have some other things in the works too. So trying to decide how I'm going to leverage my current channels on Instagram and YouTube, because I have another project in the works that I'm so excited to share with my various communities that really aligns with everything that I've done in health, everything that I've done in fitness, everything that I've done in journaling and productivity, and ties it all together a little bit more cohesively. So I'm not feeling like I'm having to serve like 3 different arenas. I can really just focus my energy into one thing so I don't feel so stretched thin, if you will. But more on that another time. Obviously, being in rings meant that I knew going into this year, I was planning on making some purchases for 2026 using pre-dated and pre-printed inserts. So yes, dated inserts, which is not usually my style because when I roll with a bound book, I'm just rolling with a blank notebook. But when it comes to rings, I have found that I have been functioning better when I have some things that are already dated and pre-structured for me. So I knew that going into 2025, I was going to set aside some funds for a 2026 planner purchase, and May Paper Co. is one of my favorite shops to get inserts from. However, with the recent changes in shipping coming to the US from businesses that are located in other countries, they had to kind of sort of hurry and get these orders out. So I placed a rather large order, or larger than I was planning to, because I didn't just get some 2026 items. I got some staples that I knew that I wanted, some things that had been in my wish list for a while. And I was like, listen, if I'm going to order them, let me order them now while I can get them, while I know I'm not going to have to pay additional for shipping. I know these are things that I've been wanting to use. And could I print and cut these things? Yes, absolutely. But again, right now I'm just trying to be very mindful, very aware of my capacity, my energy, what I have time for, what I'm willing to do. And right now, rolling with pre-printed inserts is the way to go. So without further ado, let's get into the unboxing. And I'm not going to call this a haul because it's not really a haul in my eyes. I'm going to warn you, yes, it is a rather large order, but again, this wasn't an impulsive, rather large order. And the only other thing I'll be purchasing for 2026 is actually a monthly booklet, likely a B6 Slim or A6 booklet from Sterling Ink, because that is actually what I'm using in the back of all my books. I slide it into the back cover, and that's where I track a lot of my stats annually, so I don't have to worry about migrating my monthly info from various inserts to various inserts while I flip from either using an A5 Slim or a standard TN or even an FCC Rings. It can stay cohesive and I don't have to duplicate information just to have it handy. So let's go ahead and get into it. Before I get into the unboxing, I wanted to show you quick my new FCC Rings cover. So you will all know that in June, roughly, I think it was June, Rowena from Sojourner gifted me this beautiful rings cover. She was getting into rings and she wanted to make an FCC size, and I don't actually have an FCC sized planner. I only had personal size and personal wide that I would put my FCC inserts into. I didn't realize how much I was going to love having an actual cover that was FCC sized until I got into this one. And this is obviously very much my vibe, right? We have this Quetzal kind of grayish bluish leather, a red string, and I do like that it's a string rings cover. I just think there's something so fun about that, and if I wanted to, I could change the string color out. But this has been so much fun, but you know a girl loves options, and so I had been working with Evangelia at Elysian Paper, which if you've been around for a little while, you know that Evangelia's shop, Elysian Paper, is another one of my favorites to shop from because the designs just feel unique, right? This to me from Rowena is very unique, very interesting, very different. This from Evangelia is also very unique, very different. So what I asked her to do was, hey, I know you haven't done this already cover, which is this window cover style she does in rings. Would you be willing to do this in rings, but also rather than personal size, widen the cover to meet the Franklin Covey compact insert size? And she said yes. So we looked at the measurements. I actually did reference the width of this planner to help guide the measurements for this planner, and it was perfectly spot on. And we designed this with the nip closure, and this is in the Rougine leather. And then I got in the back the Petra's pocket, which is this sort of envelope style. And this is where I have my B6 Slim monthly insert tucked in. You guys know my B6 Slim is where I track all of my workouts, all of my health stats. And in the monthlies, I track my medications, my peptides, different appointments and things that I have. And so this is where I track all my health information. So this has been really amazing. And so I have my Paperbound Creations dashboard in here with my pen loop, obviously. And then in this clear window, I have some of my favorite pins, clips, a planner card from May Paper Co., and a little leaf that came with the planner because that is what Evangelia includes with this already cover, these really beautiful leaves. And there was originally gold rings in this, but the gold rings were 25 millimeter and I need 30 millimeter rings. But when she sent me the picture of this, I thought, how amazing would this look with my matte black 30 millimeter rings? And let me just tell you, this is like so good. I feel like the black rings with this cover, and then you have on the front still the gold closure with some of the gold hardware, just really does something for me. So I love having now this nice little like rotation, like I can rotate through. So when I want something that feels like this, I don't even know how to describe the difference between the two because they're both so unique. I have two very different vibes, but in styles that I feel like are very unique and on brand for me as an individual. So very much excited. So May Paper Co., as always, beautiful box. I haven't looked in this yet. I only just took it out of the packaging. So here we go. Got some tissue paper and a beautiful sticker. And some freebies that came with the purchases. So these habit tracker stickers, which I'm so excited for. I have some other sticky notes from May Paper Co. that I purchased because when I got my dividers earlier this year, the sticky notes were also on sale. And so I'm like, listen, I'm going to get them. I'm going to use them. I'm not a huge sticky note person, but I do like them. This is going to have my packing information in it and likely a few extra pieces of ephemera, so I'm going to make sure that my personal information is not showing. I also have the planner cards for the whole year of 2026. This was another one of the freebies with purchase. So this A6 2026 Vellum overview was, again, part of the freebies for when you purchased on launch day. I got all 3 of the freebies because I exceeded the level that there was like different tiers. So if you spent X amount of dollars, you got an additional freebie. In my ephemera envelope, I have an October 2025 journaling card, which is nice because it's currently August 30th and I can use this for this year. Love this. Actually might slide this into my Elysian paper clear cover because this is so cute. Some foiled stickers, which I don't really use these, so I have some additional foiled stickers that I have. I do think that I would be able to use them. I just haven't made a point to try to use them yet. And then a journaling card, Wanderlust. This is really cute. Again, could go really well in that clear slot in my cover, or is just a general dashboard. So really love the ephemera that came with this. I don't generally keep a ton of ephemera, so if I find, or if I'm looking through it and I think I'm really not going to use it, I'm probably going to toss it. So, okay, so first thing that I got is this quarterly overview. And so this is just the month and then some lines. I like having a quarterly overview. It just is really helpful. A lot of times I'll use this to track like travel or major family events, things like that. Generally travel is the thing that I will track on here. I do travel quite a bit throughout the year. This year I've traveled actually less than years prior, but it's not uncommon for me to be traveling at least once a month, if not a little bit more. So I like being able to have at a glance what my travel looks like for the year. So quarterly insert. Then I have a 2026 weekly agenda, and this is a different type of layout than I've used before, but here's what I like about this layout is for me, it actually mimics the Peanuts Planner Co. freebie, the week on 2-page freebie that I have. And I do just like the aesthetic of the May Paper Co. inserts. So let's actually look at one of these. And I did get these in Franklin Covey compact size, just in case anybody's wondering. But you see here that this is on this side just a dashboard. So like the week, then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And then here what I sometimes do is I'll take either a couple notes on the day or I will write out what my events are. Recently, I'm not putting my events so much in here. I'm actually using my vertical weekly for sort of my events at a glance for the week, which is really, really nice. And I've actually been using this to kind of help mark not gratitude, but just some notes from the day in general. And then this information in my weeklies and my dailies and my rings helps me fill in my 5-year journal. I would like to say that I'm going to be able to consistently fill in my 5-year journal every single night when the day is fresh, but that just hasn't happened in such a long time. And so I like this. And then I also love that it's got a little mini tracker on it. So I am a habit tracker girly, so I love tracker, a notes section, and then it's got like a number 1 and a number 2 list. So I could either do like a to buy or errands to run. I don't really keep a to-do list in my weekly anymore because it's just not efficient or effective for me. Sometimes in my vertical weekly, I keep my top priorities for the week, but in this more dashboard, I can see more of like a things I need to buy and errands I need to run more than anything. And so I'm really excited for this. And so that is the weekly agenda. And I like this because the months are what they say is separable. So when you get to the end of January, it then breaks and you move into February. So the months don't like hook in together. So I can just keep like January, February, March in my planner and then have the rest of the inserts for the year just sitting on deck. So I don't have to stuff everything in my planner, but then I don't have like a weird break. And I like visually that you have at the beginning of each month also. I don't always use these. This dashboard's on my current dated weeklies that I use for My Paper Go. A master to do, important dates, notes, focus of the month. I like so just more that it's separated. I don't know if I need to explain why, I just like it that way. So, and these are all dated for 2026. What's also nice about this is that if for some reason I'm not in my Franklin Covey Compact for a month, then I just don't have to use those inserts. Again, I just like the way that it's set up. I got another weekly insert, and this is the one that I'm using currently. They had a sale earlier this year on their dated inserts in June, and I did pick up some dated inserts. This is a vertical, so this is how I've been using the vertical hourly. Again, they're separable months where it's just a 7 to 8 p.m., couple lines at the top. It's got the to-do list on the bottom here. And then it's got notes on the bottom here. And I'll show you what this week has looked like so you can see how I'm using this. So this is this week where I've written in some of my events. So like I had to do labs in the morning. Tuesday was a work from home day. Here's my priority to do this week. And then I just keep Monday through Friday my appointments, and then Saturday and Sunday are stacked, which is totally fine for me. And I really like this. And the reason I also have that dashboard weekly is because this is my Peanuts Planner Co. dashboard where I have my habit tracker and then just sort of a little bit of note of the day. But I don't need like this, and like I just feel like I don't love this as much as I like the My Paper Co. from an aesthetic perspective. And these I have to print and cut myself. And again, I want to avoid printing and cutting a bunch of stuff. Now, thankfully, I actually had some of these already printed and cutted blank. So this is what I'm using for now. But moving forward, I don't want to have to print and cut things if I can avoid it, just at least at this point in my life. So that's how I'm using the vertical. So got the vertical weeklies. Again, for the whole year, and they are separable months, which is really, really nice. So I can just set my planner up, 2 to 3 months at a time. That was a quarterly overview. I'm looking for my dated inserts first. I got this 2026 vertical yearly. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I don't actually know exactly how I want to use this. I don't need it to track health stats because I do that in my monthly booklet, because that monthly booklet will go with me regardless of what setup I'm in. Because I know I'm either going to be in Franklin Covey Compact size, standard TN size, or A5 Slim of some kind, either in a blank notebook or in like an expanded Moleskine. And so I got this. I knew that I would maybe not be able to get it later because of all the issues with shipping to the US, and I just wanted to make sure I have it. So I don't know what I'm going to use this for. Again, things I know I don't need it for: cycle tracking, workout tracking. I don't need it for tracking like health appointments or appointments in general, or travel, because I use my quarterly overview for travel. So if you have ideas on how this could be used, this 2026 vertical weekly, I thought it would be actually nice, and I'm kind of started doing this quarter, is because I have some days where I work from home and some days where I work in the office. I actually thought it'd be nice to start tracking like what days I work remote versus what days I'm in the office, because I, with my role, have the ability to work remote as often as I need to. Although I do prefer to be in the office for a good chunk of the week, because there's a lot of collaborative initiatives that I'm working on with my colleagues. And sometimes it's easier just to be in the office. Plus, as the senior wellness specialist, I like to be in the office to support other team members who need my insight or need me to answer questions for them to be able to do their jobs. And it's nice to just be around other people. And even when I was not working with Jevity, I still would be at my workspace where my office is most days of the week. So I think that I would like to maybe keep tabs on like work from home or working remote, because sometimes I'll work in the office half a day or work at home half a day, and then maybe I go to like a cafe for the last few hours of the day to like finish up messages and send off emails and things like that. So that's kind of my initial thought, but if you have ideas on how I can use this vertical yearly, let me know. I actually did buy the Peanuts Planner Co. 2025 printed bundle, and the only one of those that I actually like, I'll show you. Again, I bought it when it was 50% off because I just figured I wanted to test it out and see if I even liked it for 2026. The only one of these that I actually like is this one, but I don't even know what I would do here. Like, what would I put on here? Again, I don't need to track, you know, any type of health stats. What would I put in here? And I don't want to track something just to track it. I did put my travel for this year in this quarterly, but again, I don't think I need this much room for a quarterly. And then I have no idea what to do with this. This is like a overview plus like some grid space, and then it's got the quarters, and I have no idea what I would do with this. So I don't think I'm going to be purchasing this Peanuts Planner Co. Could I, if I did, I would maybe just see if I could get this insert, because I do like this one. Just visually, it doesn't drive me nuts. There's a lot happening with these inserts. Like, this is very busy to me. I don't know how else to explain that. Like, what do I even do here? This is nice. This visual is actually really nice. But if you use the Peanuts Planner Co. inserts and you have ideas on how to like leverage these, let me know, because I do like them. I think they could be beneficial, but I think I would need to maybe start the year off, and I don't want to try to force something with them. I think I would just want it to be something that makes sense, that would be beneficial for me to see at a glance. You will see here that I actually did track my work from home days in August just to see, because I felt like I was working remote a lot this month, and I only worked remote 7 days this month. So I just tracked my work from home or remote work days. And some of these days were even just half days, like where I did part of the day in the office, the rest of the day at home. So I'm not actually working remote that often. What's really nice is my office is really close by, and I love my office, my workspace that we're in, because it's got an upstairs area and a cafe, and there's people there, and I have friends there, and that are not just my coworkers, because there's several other businesses. It's a co-working space with offices. So there's a lot of community there. So I do like being there. And it's, again, 5 minutes from my house. So it's not that big of a deal for me to get there. But yeah, anyway, if you have thoughts on how to leverage either the vertical tracker, this fold out, or the Peanuts Planner Co. trackers, let me know. Okay, any other 2026 specific inserts? Here we go. Okay. I did get this vellum. Now, I do get, again, this vellum from Vixie's Plants. I got it in 2024. I got it in 2025. I want to get it again for 2026. But who knows what the hell is going to go on with shipping to the US. And Vixie's shop is an Australian-based shop, just like May Paper Co. Am I going to be able to get stuff from her shop? I've ordered dividers from her. I've ordered stickers from her. I've ordered dashboards from her. I love her shop. But if so just in case I, for some reason, can't get her stuff because it doesn't make sense for her to try to ship small orders to the US anymore, I got this 2026 Year at a Glance vellum, just as a placeholder. Am I going to use it for anything functional? No, but I think it's nice to have something. But is it as cute as this one? No. This is adorable. This lunar calendar of like the waning and the waxing and the new and the full moons, it just kills me. I love this so much. But I don't know if I'll be able to get it in 2026. So there we are. Okay, monthly agenda. So I did get a monthly overview, because while I am using the monthly insert to track my annual information, like my peptides, my health stuff, I just think it's good to have a monthly agenda on hand. And this is all it is. And the months are separable. So you get January, and then it's a blank notes page on the back, and then you move into February. Now, I had this year the blank version of this where it's not gridded, but I wanted the grid. I just like the grid on the monthly better. I feel like I write more cleanly. That's how my Sterling ink insert is. So if I show you this, like if I have to put stick dots or anything down, I like having the grid on the monthly. I was worried it was going to be very, very dark. Like the Peanuts Planner Co grid is very dark to me. This isn't dark. So again, and the months are separable. I did it like that on purpose because I don't want to have things connected if I'm only setting up for a certain amount of time. So the 2026 monthly agenda, just a blank month. I don't know what I'll use it for, but I feel like it's just one of those things where if you need to have just a basic monthly for something, even if you don't use it the same way every single month. So I want to have it on deck. And then I really wanted this month on one page. I really like the month on one page. And again, it's more so just to have options. So the way that the month on one page is set up, again, separable months. Here's January. So January has the month overview and then 2 columns of just lines. And everything's a Monday start, which is excellent. And on the back, you have some just blank lines, a little box for notes, and then a note for next month. So I thought it would be really nice to combine like a month on one page overview for, I don't know, major events for the month itself, like where certain blocks of things are happening. And then in the actual monthly agenda, be able to give more detail on those things. So I thought that being able to pair these in some capacity would be nice. I can see that happening, or this might be a good opportunity for me to visually get a grasp on where my projects are for the month, because I have a lot of project-based work now with the role that I'm in. I'm building out a lot of things. So I'm head of education, which means that I'm building out a lot of the member-facing education as well as our internal education for our team. And so me having a glance of what are the main focus for this month, and just as it's in my Notion, but I move a lot of stuff from my Notion, the most important stuff, on paper, because I need to still think on paper, and I check in with my Notion at the beginning of the day and the end of the day. So that's the month on one page, separable months, which I thought would complement having the big monthly overview for more detailed information on various things that I have going on, whether it's travel, projects, events. And then this. So my Google Calendar is always the source of truth, but my Google Calendar also has a lot of various time blocks in it that aren't actual events. So I have to sometimes like pull out the actual events so I can just see what's going on. It's the same reason why I have to use a vertical weekly so I can see what's actually happening on the week at a glance, because if I look at just my Google Calendar, it looks a lot busier sometimes than it actually is, because I have different recurring blocks for various things in my calendar, and I need the paper version of it as I update week to week and month to month to be more of the, what is this information sort of distilled down, right? What is the less busy version of the information that I can reference at a glance? So that's that. And I don't think there's any more 2026 specific inserts. Oh, yes, there is. The dailies. So these are the dailies, and I really love these dailies. Hold on, I need a little coffee. And I didn't realize that I was going to love a data daily until Kim over at ADH Done from Lily Paper Co. gave me a file with the 2025 day on 2 page dailies. Now, I love a day on 2 page, but what I've actually found in my rings is that if I take extra notes on that day, I actually like to have the notes separate from the day itself. Like I'll put the date that I took the notes, but I want to be able to pull those notes out. And if I need to add extra space for that day, I'll just pop in a blank notes page. So I'll show you an example. So here is, so I've got the date, which these are the undated May Paper Co. and these are the May Paper Co. grid inserts. So these are both May Paper Co. This is the same daily. This is the same daily as this. This is just undated, and I've just dated it with a sticker. I have my top 3 things that I need to work on, a general to-do list, on my notes here, I put what errands I have to run, and then in green, I have my spending for the day. I also had bunch of Amazon returns, and so I wanted to know which account they were going back on because I use Amazon for personal and business purchases. So I always track like, okay, which card did it go on? So I know which account to make sure that it clears into. And so I just wanted to write that down. And so this is related to Saturday. However, this day on Friday, for example, I might be writing on something else. And so I've been putting like a notes page in between each daily, just so I have it already like preemptively there. Okay. And then if I don't use it, I can just take it out and move it back into the notes section. And so what I actually have back here is these are my work notes, and then these are my personal notes. And what I've actually done is I've ordered some dot stickers from Shop Daisy Papers to color code the various areas so that I can keep just like if I start a specific page with one topic, then if I want to continue on that specific topic, I can continue on that page. So for example, for here, let me go to a personal note. I'm looking at planning and task routines. So this would be marked with a personal color dot. Here, down below is similar information related to the same area, okay? I'm not gonna write a work note below a personal note. Or this, for example, on like good quotes and nuggets, okay? This might be marked personal development, little dot sticker. So anytime I come across something that's like a good one-liner food for thought, I want it to go on this page and I'll go on to the back, okay? So I'm gonna keep my notes a little bit more organized because what really messed me up in Rings last time is I had a bunch of notes, but the notes were so discombobulated and messy, just like they were in this journal. But this journal, in a bullet journal, you can index everything by page, so it's easy to find later. It was really not easy to find stuff in my Rings notes after the fact. So that's my sort of effort to keep things a little bit more organized. So I've got a bunch of these grid notes from May Paper Co., and that's what I'm putting sort of in between the dailies. Now, that's not to say that I'm never going to use a day on two page ever again, but right now I also kind of like that the current daily limits how many like to-do items I can pull in for the day, because this is what I'm trying to avoid, is pulling in so many to-do items because I get overwhelmed. So I've created a process that I'm experimenting with because I capture everything either on paper or in my reminders app on my iPhone or in like a quick task in Notion. And so I'm trying to create sort of like a check-in, check-out, like beginning of day, end of day, where I can take all this information, distill it down, migrate things, organize them, and then only pull out what's important for that day. It's a work in progress. Again, we've been struggling, but that's part of what I'm working on. And I'm actually been reading the Getting Things Done book and Tiago Forte's Second Brain. And that's how my Notion database is set up, is as a second brain. And so this leads me into sort of some of my other areas, my inbox inserts. So I actually got the Getting Things Done bundle from Franklin Covey Compact Size, because I would like to start using, and I actually have the inbox insert, the printable, but I wanted this, and I think the one I have is not from May Paper Co., it's from Infinite Lotus, but this one to me I like more because it's calendar, next action, waiting on projects, someday maybe, and reference. But what I want to do is I want to have one for personal, one for business, one for longevity, one for Boldly Inked, one for my next creative project. I want to have the different inboxes for the different things, right? I don't want to have like just one endless inbox, because sometimes I don't need to see everything all at once. I only need to see for a specific area of my life, okay? So this has the inbox insert, and then it has sort of the next action, okay? And I don't know exactly how I'm going to use this. There's different columns here, but I like that it's got like a due date on it, right? So I might have to brainstorm how I want to use this. And then after the next action, it's got waiting on. So if I'm waiting on something, Okay, I can put it here. Then it's got the projects list, which I have a project section again in my second brain. I want to be able to maybe have like a physical overview of what are the current priority projects that I have to focus on, because I have in my projects in Notion also sort of a projects inbox. So things that I want to turn into a project or work on, but not yet. And they're still waiting to like sort of be scheduled, but I'm just brainstorming on them. Then this is the someday maybe, okay? And then this is the information that as I'm doing sort of my reconciliation between my paper and my digital tools, I can have these tools physically and then reconcile them digitally, because I don't want to constantly have to be in my Notion. Sometimes I have to think on paper. So I'm excited to incorporate these, and these are not specific to obviously like 2026. So these are ones that I'm probably going to use sooner versus later. But the bundle was, again, on the May Paper Co. website. It was something that I was thinking about getting. Was I planning on purchasing it right this second? No, but again, the kerfuffle with the United States and the shipping, it just made sense to get it now. And I'm pretty sure it was discounted. Like the bundles were discounted, if I'm not mistaken. So I didn't even pay full price, which is nice. Then I got this finance overview. Again, inserts. I do a lot of thinking on paper, and I do keep a lot of my financial stuff digitally, but I've been tracking my spending manually for the last couple of years, and I really, really like that. Here's the thing, I'm terrible at keeping up my digital financial database. So again, wanted to have maybe, and I don't think I'll use all of these. This is sort of an overview where for each month you have income, expenses, debt, savings, and giving. I don't know if all of this necessarily applies to me, so it's stuff that I'm gonna have to play with, but the bundle came with multiple of each of these inserts, so I can play with things, and if I have to scrap it, then I can and start fresh. Then it comes with a sort of fixed bills overview, which is kind of fun. Again, I mean, my bills haven't changed for forever, but it's, again, maybe nice to see and just be a little bit more physical with some of this stuff, just layering into what I'm already doing. My variable bills, which this was actually one I wanted to get because I do have some bills that are a little more variable, and I wanted to see more at a glance what some of them might have been. So the variable bills insert was in here. Then an income tracker, which again, I do a lot of this digitally, but I have now several sources of income. And I think just getting it all in one place would be nice. I do that anyway, but I don't do it regularly. I only really start doing it when I have to like do my taxes. And I'm like, oh. Then there's an expense tracker, which I do like this. I'm just doing it on a notes page right now, but I think it would be nice to have like an expense tracker, one for each week of the year, and do like a week 1, week 2, week 3. And this would be more so like my personal spending that I'm used to tracking anyway. Not that I can't use the Sterling Ink Passport one anymore. I'm kind of sick of using it, and I actually haven't used it in a while. And part of it is because I don't want to have 2 booklets in my planner cover, and I have my monthly booklet in my planner cover, and then I had that little passport insert in my planner cover. Having 2 booklets feels like a lot, so I might switch to this. And what's nice about this is that even if I switch into like a TN or an A5 Slim notebook, I can still come back a few days a week and fill in this stuff and just let it live long-term in Rings. Because it's not something that has to be touched every single day, just maybe once or twice a week. I really like that. Then I've got these savings trackers, which I've got various savings accounts for various things, but like for some specific things that I'm saving for this year, like I have, my best friend is getting married and I'm in her wedding, and my brother's getting married and I'm in his wedding. And so I have 2 bachelorette trips, 2 weddings, lots of things. I'm saving, also paying for my sister-in-law for our bridal makeup. So just being able to like separate the buckets. So like in my savings account, it's just one big account, but maybe saying like, okay, I have this much allotted for this much allotted for this, and maybe like having a visual of like each bucket for some of the bigger things that we have coming up this year would be kind of nice. Again, this was more so I saw it, it was on sale. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get this from the debt. I pay off my credit card every month, so it's not, I didn't need this, but it was cheaper to still buy the bundle. So that's really it in there. So that's the finance bundle. And again, was just one of those things where I kind of had my eye on some of these things. It was cheaper to get the inserts in the bundle, and I don't know what the shipping situation to the US is going to be, and some of these things I wanted to use sooner rather than later, so I went ahead and just got them when I made my 2026 purchases. Then I have the gratitude log, which I currently use. Love this gratitude log. Love having it in. I pair this with kind of the information in my weeklies and my dailies to fill in my 5-year journal. And I just think it's good to have a gratitude practice on a daily basis. This is just something that this is actually how I started into journaling, was I just started with gratitude. And this is what kickstarted my whole journaling sort of experience and hobby. And when I don't do it, I notice a big difference in my mental health and my mood versus when I am actively doing a gratitude log daily, even on something little and something small, it really does have a difference. So gratitude log inserts. Then I have some lined inserts, just regular plain lined. I'm partial to grid, but I don't mind lined every now and then. I like this 4-quadrant list situation. I just got a bunch of additional list inserts. Sometimes I don't want to use like a full grid insert for something. If I just need to make a quick list for something specific, this is kind of nice. Or if I have one big thing and it has sort of subcategories that have lists, I like this idea, which is nice. So the grid inserts, again, something that was on my wish list. So I only got one of these just because I don't want to buy a bunch until I know I use it consistently, and then once I know I'll use it consistently, then I'll be okay with purchasing more. I got a last time now I do have an adulting log in my Notion, but because it's kind of out of sight, out of mind, I don't keep it super updated, and I actually need to go back through and update it. So I thought maybe having a last time just at the forefront in sort of my trackers, like I have an online order tracker, just like sort of my sort of admin section, I guess, of my planner. I thought this would be nice. Again, it just bought one insert section, setup of it. So we'll see if I use it. Oh, yes. Grid paper inserts. I needed more of these. These are 4mm grid, just a blank at the top. I have some of this still, but I use just the grids notes so much. Their grid is not super aggressively dark, which I like. Then this is kind of cute. Okay, I thought that on the days where I don't maybe need a daily, and really more so for like, I don't need the daily and it's 2025, I'm not into my dated inserts yet, or it's just a weekend, Saturday, Sunday, I maybe don't need my inserts. I can do this, and this it could either be like the day plus the list of things to do, or it could just be a topic and then a list or a brainstorm. I really, really like this idea. Again, it was just something sitting on my wish list of things I wanted to purchase. I was finally making a purchase and wanted to be able to get some stuff before the shipping issues started. So then this, I've had my eye on this for a while. Now I have an editable routines PDF in my possession, but every time I go in and fill it out, it's like morning, daytime, evening, and it doesn't fit my brain. This is like a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then it's Sunday, and then a weekly. And then it's also got, let me pull out because it's got multiple layouts in it. I thought, because I'm trying to establish some new routines for things, again, if stuff is sort of out of sight and out of mind, I don't reference it and it's not at the top of my head. Again, having this in just like my admin section. On the back, it has sort of daily, monthly, quarterly, yearly. And I like that there's multiples of these, so if my routines change, I can change them. But I think it would be nice to be able to say, hey, this is the date and this is what I have set up. Right? So I do have certain days that I tend to do things on in general. So as a whole, I'm going to just try it and see if it works. This is the first one that I saw that I thought kind of worked for my brain with the way that it was laid out. I won't know until I try, but I just know the one that I have right now that's like an editable one that I can print. Every time I try to set it up on my computer with the right information, I just get discombobulated and stuck, and then I don't finish it. Then this one is a 2-column with a grid. It's a little blank header with a grid. Again, just was one of those things very similar to this like quadrant situation or this like, you know, for like to-do list section. Thought it was really interesting, wanted to try it. I'll see if I end up using it. Of these ones, what I will likely do is whichever one I reach for the most is likely what I'll repurchase eventually once we know what's happening with like shipping and orders. And they will be stocking some things in their Amazon storefront because they do have an Amazon storefront on the US Amazon site, but it has limited stock. And also I use Franklin Covey compact size, which is not a super popular size. I mean, I think it is, but May Paper Co. is one of the few shops that actually do FCC size, like printed inserts. And that's actually where I got a lot of my inserts from this summer because I just needed some inserts and I didn't want to have to print and cut a bunch of things just to get started. I don't know if these ones are even in the Amazon storefront, so I wanted to grab them, and then whichever one I gravitate to the most is probably the one I'll restock once I'm out. As I'm going through this, I obviously have quite a bit here. Again, I don't want to refer to this as a haul, and I also want to just very much normalize that this is not a normal type of purchase for me. This was much larger and much bigger than what I would ever purchase in a sitting from like an inserts perspective. I did spend about 300 some US dollars on this, but that's kind of what I budgeted to purchase for my 2026 printed inserts. I don't think I need to get anything else. Any other shops that I've looked at that may have 2026 pre-printed inserts coming out, like Infinite Lotus, for example, I haven't seen anything about their 2026 inserts really on their website or their Instagram. And May Paper Co. did have theirs very well marketed. And I said, you know what? I love May Paper Co. I'm going to just buy them. And if that's where I spend my budget, then I will. And like I mentioned, the only other thing that I'm going to get from just a functionality perspective is just another dated, you know, booklet. Thought maybe even trying A6 because with the information that I track, I can honestly track it in an A6 size. This is B6 Slim, and A6 might be a good option for me too. And other than that, other things that are fair game as the years go by, in my opinion, are like blank notebooks. This was an A5 Slim blank notebook, my friends. This is like not like, oh, another planner that's gonna go to waste. No, this is a blank notebook. I used the crap out of it, and you can tell how fluffy it is. And I have it next to me and I use it as like sort of a scratch notes book now because it's just a blank notebook. It's not something that's gonna like go to waste. Same thing with my pocket notebook over here. I used it, I had dated it and bullet journaled in it, but now that I'm not, I'm just writing in it as I need to in the back. So the blank notebooks are not something that I'm like, oh, if I buy extra as the years go on, well, if I run out of a blank notebook and I need another blank notebook, I'm gonna get one. I have one on deck here. This is a Leuchtturm A6 because I did get some jumbo pen loops to fit my High-Tech C Coletto, which is this multi-pen, which is my new favorite pen to use because you can customize the colors and the pen bodies and refills are not that expensive. So I bought some jumbo loops from Leuchtturm, but to get the free shipping, I was either gonna spend the money on shipping or buy a notebook. So I bought a notebook, and this sticker, this TBR sticker, which is one of my favorite stickers that I've gotten from Redbubble ever, fit the cover. And I thought it was too perfect. So this is just a blank lined notebook. Again, it's just ready to go. When my pocket notebook is done, this is the one that'll go in my purse. So that's that. So that's my May Paper Co. unboxing, a little bit of an update on where I'm at with things, what I'm currently using. Just putting it out there that this is not, like I said, this is not me going and telling you to go spend $1 bajillion on your 2026 stuff. I knew that I was going to be purchasing sometime in like August, September. Putting the FCC inserts into an FCC sized cover just does something for me. Like it's the Goldilocks size. It's not too big, it's not too small, it's just right. So I'm really happy that I'm sort of destashing my other sizes, really just sticking with what I know's work, and that's what informed sort of, again, this purchase. I know how I use my planners, so I'm not trying to encourage anybody to go out and make a big giant purchase. This is what I was intending to do, and then I just got a few extra things because of, again, the whole issue with shipping to the US. I don't know how easy it is going to be to get these items moving forward. That's a problem for future me, I suppose. So Thank you guys so much for being here. I know this was a long one. I will catch you on the next one.